Welcome back, everybody, to United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back to react to the match as Man United's B team really drop points on the road at Brentford. We lose 4-3. Don't let the scoreline fool you, though. It was not a close match. Even if Brentford did try their hardest to let us back into it, it was not as close as the scoreline would tell you. But we are here to talk about that, as always. I mean, really, it was one of the worst defensive performances I've seen from us in a couple of ways, but we're going to chat about that as our 6-game losing streak rolls onwards. So, sorry, I just saw something on here. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying your Monday. We're going to dive in. It did start off pretty well, right, with that early goal, Garnacho and Mount linking up after a brilliant bit of passing skill from Kobbie Mainoo to find Garnacho. But again, just some absolute horrendous defending. Saw things quickly unravel as the game went on. Like I said, Brentford did try hard to let us back into this one. We did put up a little bit of a late fight. Again, kind of like what we've seen time and time again. We just were unrelenting, just putting more and more balls in the box, trying to create something. And it is one of those things where maybe you feel like if we had 5 more minutes, we might have equalized. But again, as is another story of our season, left it too late to make a difference, and we paid the price for it. But we're going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Anthony Taylor, even though I didn't think he had a great game, and he probably, in my opinion, should have stopped play for De Ligt's obvious injury. De Ligt had to come off. I think he should have stopped play for that, but it is what it is. So like that video for me, everyone. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and make sure you go check the memberships if you want to get involved in more content. You want to help the channel grow. Like I said, it does help the channel. And really, it's my way of trying to get you guys more involved in the content. As much as I like to talk, right, I do get tired of just coming up with everything and hearing my own voice. So it's nice to get some ideas and some input from everyone else. And the memberships are a great way you guys can do that, whether it's scout reports, whether it's questions from a boot, or even episodes of What If you have any ideas for those. Season 2 will be coming out probably after the season is done and dusted. So be sure to come check out Season 2 of What If soon. Go check out the link in the description for $5 off when you register with that code with GoGoalShop. And of course, go check out the UV store. As you can see with the pinned chat, it is 25% off right now, everything in the UVE store. It's only for a couple more days, though. That is probably the best deal you're going to get for a long time on the channel in terms of discount at the store. So 25% off is massive. Made sure you guys got that one activated. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been wondering, oh, maybe I'll go check out the store, now is the time, because you're not going to get a deal like this for a while. So go check that out. Some really good T-shirts. You guys have seen wear a couple of them. Hoodies. I've threw on some baseball tees on there. There's women's shirts. Go check it out. Let me see who is getting involved in the chat. Sanjay, good to see you live, man. A couple days in a row now. Look at that. I feel special, but it's good to see you. Hope you're enjoying your day. Rob, as always, evening. Hope you're doing well. Sanjay says, greetings from Gajira. Is that how you say that? Interesting. Just had dinner. Right on, man. What did you have for dinner? Let us know. I just had lunch not that long ago, leftover. I made homemade spinach and artichoke dip the other night, so I just kind of heated some of that up and grabbed some chips and went to town. Sometimes we do what's called dip day, where for dinner we'll get like 3 bags of chips, and I'll make like homemade guacamole, homemade spinach and artichoke dip. We'll get some queso, we'll get some salsa, and we'll just kind of snack on some of that. It's pretty tasty. So big up everybody, though. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Big up to the women's team, too, by the way, for qualifying for the Champions League next season with a 2-2 draw against City in a Manchester derby yesterday. Remember, that kicked off early in the morning, right before our kickoff. So big up the women's team. They did come back in the end. And the under-18s, remember, they won against Stoke. JJ Gabriel playing a big role when he came on, but JJ Gabriel turned around and played like the next day for the U16s against Stoke and provided an excellent assist after a silky bit of skill to create some space. The kid is absolute class. He is going to be amazing. He looks so good. And then the U21s played this afternoon. This morning. I think they kicked off at 10. I did watch most of the first half. We did go into halftime, I think 1-0 down to West Ham. But they under 21s did come back to beat them 4-1 in the end. Goals from, I think, Mather, Scanlon, I forget who else. But yes, we were 1-0 down, came back to win 4-1 up. So everybody's doing their part, save for the first team. Sanjay made some kale with potatoes and a hot curry sauce. Interesting. Sounds good. Are you vegetarian? I would like to know. Rob says bank holiday here at the start of the 80th VE day. Interesting. Yeah, I did see something bank holiday online. If somebody did something at Lee Sports Village, I forget. Rob says, have we locked JJ in yet? Not that I know of. It would be nice though, because the kid, like I said, he came on against for the under 18s and did excellent. Nearly had 2 goals. Did grab a second, and then turned around the very next day and played for the under 16s. Got an assist. The kid is, and remember, this kid's what, 15, 14 years old. He's playing well above his age range. He is excellent. Darko, big up. Oh, he's diving in. We're not quite there yet, Darko. We will get there in a second, though. Says, I will blame Amorim for not going for draws when it was clear the Premier League performances were getting worse, and that would have been avoided 5-6 defeats. Yeah. Amorim's got a little bit of stuff to answer for, and we're going to talk about that. So, but thank you, Darko, for jumping in. Just because I don't automatically rage against Amorim, I'm not saying you are, but just because I don't, doesn't mean he is free from criticism and responsibility. Same with players, really. You guys know that. I do try to look at these matches on an individual basis, and I'll point out what I see in those. But big up everybody. Sanjay says not vegetarian, but I felt like to have veggie food. I cook vegetarian 3 or 4 times a week. Interesting. You'll have to let me know some interesting recipes, some good recipes, some of your favorite vegetarian. My wife is pescatarian, and so every now and then I will kind of do a vegetarian dinner or something to kind of put some solidarity in with her. So most of the time it's like black bean quesadillas or some sort of fish, or so I'll make like a pasta or a salad, and I'll cook meat for myself on the side and I'll add it. So, but I'm always looking for new recipes, so I'm sure she's tired of always eating the same things. But big up everybody. Hope you're doing well. Moving on to some news. I saw some random rumors regarding a new director of football. Have you guys seen some of this? So we've got some reports, I think it was yesterday, from Sasha Tavaleri. He's pretty involved in terms of rumors and stuff, but he claimed United were in advanced talks for current Paris Saint-Germain director of football, Louis Campos. Now, it's not the first time Campos has been linked to United. It's a couple times over the last few years. When we got rid of Ashworth, he was among a couple names that were linked with us. But then pretty much immediately after these rumors popped up yesterday, Ben Jacobs poured cold water on this, claiming that Campos is actually currently in talks with PSG over a new contract. He also said Campos is not an option for United. And Fabrizio Romano pretty much said the same thing. Campos not in talks with United right now. So when it comes to 2 guys like Romano and Jacobs against 1 guy in Sasha Talaveri, and from just the track record we get from some of these other guys, I'm probably going to go with Jacobs and Romano over Sasha. So sorry, no offense if anyone out there is a huge Sasha Talaveri fan, but I'm going to go with the other guys. Rob says Campos is annual, like the ocean rumors. Yeah, right. He is. We see him popped up. It's like he's been a name that's kind of popped up with United for a couple of years now. It's really interesting. I don't know. I mean, we didn't have a director of football for so long, so it made sense that we're linked with a bunch of people. I mean, remember when we were linked with the that Paul Mitchell guy for a bit? He was a big name. Obviously, we were linked with Ashworth for a while. We got Ashworth, and then we kicked him to the curb because that's just what we do here at United. But interesting. Another bit of news that's been kind of going back and forth. So this is coming from Alan Nixon, aka Reluctant Nico on Twitter, reports that Jim Fraser, who up until like a year ago or so spent like 20 years working with Chelsea in their academy. The rumor is that he's going to join United. So as a youth scout, Fraser, he worked extensively with talent identification, youth development, and kind of identifying the players that are coming through the academy that move into the first team. He's overseen a lot of that kind of progression. He replaced former academy director Neil Bath in that regard. And I think it was in 2022 he took over for him. Now he involves managing scouts. They worked closely with coaches, and basically, like I said, ensuring a pipeline from the youth team to the first team and kind of filtering those quality players. He had a hand with guys like Mason Mount, Colwell, Reece James, I think is another one, Connor Gallagher. He basically had a hand in getting all these youngsters through Chelsea's youth team up into the first team. Really had a hand in Chelsea's whole like academy youth structure, which also does help with your evaluation of the club. You move a lot of these youngsters on for big money. It helps your bottom line. But apparently he's been on gardening leave for a while, and that's over with now. But there are other sources, though, that dispute this claim. That say, like, no, he's not in talks with United. This is rubbish. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's just like the Campos situation. Who knows? I'm not a Chelsea fan, so I'm not going to pretend to know much about him. All what I've just told you is what I Googled, because I don't know who this guy is. He's not a United guy, so I have no idea. But any Chelsea fans out there watching, let us know. But I thought that was interesting. We have seen a couple of interesting rumors coming up in recent weeks regarding the structure of the club. We've made guys like Vavel and Aerith permanent additions. I think we could be looking, maybe we've downsized the scouting and stuff in some ways. We let go of some other guys. We spoke about that the other day. I think Hawkins was a guy's name, and there was another guy, I forget his name now. But I think what we're moving more towards is a very streamlined recruitment, scouting kind of like recruitment, like infrastructure in terms of that area of the club, in terms of like football directing and stuff like that. Maybe Ineos have decided that we don't need as many people as we have needed before. I don't know. But I don't think you need to go entirely old school when it comes to scouts. I do think that with data and stuff, I don't think you need as many people. Plus, let's be honest, it's not like the scouts were really doing a whole lot. Have you seen any actual scouting at this club in recent years? It's Ten Hag, had a big part to play in a lot of it. And before that, it was just big name signings, and then just extending the contracts of people who really shouldn't have been here that long. So not a whole lot of scouting. We had a perfect opportunity to change all that a few years back when Ralph Ragnick was here, and then we binned him off as well. So we are where we are. It is what it is, but who knows? In transfer news, apparently Matheus Cunha's father, his name is Carmelo, posted a little birthday party photo or video or something on social media. I don't know. I don't really have Instagram or anything, but that, of course, is going to get a ton of interactions, a ton of intention from the fans. One comment, though, I guess, was from a United fan, and all it said was "Welcome to United," which I guess Cunha's father Carmelo liked or engaged with or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how Instagram works. But I guess according to social media laws, that means he's joining United now. That's, irrefutable evidence that he's joining United. Those are the rules. I don't make them. That's just the way it works these days. So pretty much put your house on it. Give him the number 10 shirt. We're ready to go. Just thought that was interesting. The kind of stuff that goes into social media, who like this, who like that. I think as a United fan, I'm a little tired. I don't know about you guys. I'm a little tired of the social media stuff. I mean, Garnacho likes something that somebody puts on social media and it turns into a whole thing. This is what you got to put up with when it's United. I'm sure until the United rumors were a thing, like if that had said like welcome to Chelsea or something, I guarantee no one would care. If that had said welcome to City, no one would care. This is what we are. So moving on. This is coming from Get Italian Football News, but Daniele Longo, who works with Calcio Mercato, Italian outlet, he claims that Juventus have made contact with Rasmus Højlund and will make a move for him in the summer. This comes amidst a lot of uncertainty right now regarding Randall Kolo Muani. Remember, Juventus got him on loan. And then reportedly the impending departure, I should say, of Dusan Vlahovic, who I always forget about Vlahovic. I don't think he's bad. I just never really thought he was as good as people seem to make him out to be. But it sounds like, according to the reports, that Juventus' striker situation is kind of up in the air. We will see what happens. Maybe Højlund is better suited to Italian football. I think with Højlund, it has nothing to do with league. I think it has everything to do with the way he's played. Like I said before, Højlund is a prime Vardy. He needs space. He wants to run. Let him run, kind of a thing. He's not a hold-up striker. He's not really a poacher. Just he wants to move. He wants to run. So I know a lot of United fans have already written off Højlund, but he really is our only striker. You sell him right now, and we still are going to need a top striker, someone who could put these goals away and who doesn't need to be developed. And if we sell Højlund, we'll still need another backup because I don't know if Cheeto is quite ready to be the backup yet. But that's just my opinion. It's not, I'm just reporting what I see here. So would you guys sell Højlund? Do you think that that's something that would be too good to turn down? Are you done with Højlund? Does he get another chance if he's maybe not the starting striker week in, week out? Maybe if he's someone who can come in and rotate, come on for 30 minutes here and there, maybe start some of these domestic cup matches or some of these matches in Europe here and there. He is pretty good in Europe, and we can't forget about last year, but he has been shit this season. Let's just be honest and call it what it is. But it is what it is. But I thought it was an interesting report. Obviously, it's coming from Italian outlets, so see what happens in the summer. The summer could be very interesting. And then a crazy transfer rumor dropped right before I went live. It has to do with Bruno Fernandes and the Saudi League. So this is coming from Al Riyadh journalist. Al Hanyan is the name on Twitter, apparently. But the guy's got like 1.5 million followers. He's a journalist. So make of that what you will. He claims that Fernandes' lawyer and agent met with the management of Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal today, and they want to sign him before the Club World Cup starts mid-June. Very random rumor, came out of nowhere. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with the source. That's not me immediately writing it off. This is the first time I've ever heard something from this particular outlet, and it is Saudi-based outlet. So I always, go into a little trepidation when there's that kind of stuff going on. Rob says, only sell if we made a profit, but we need to add a striker rather than sell one. Yeah, no, I agree, Rob. I think that Højlund may be struggling, but again, with money being what it is, and him really not ever really meant to be the starting striker, I think that, I'd be more concerned if we sold him, we'd still need two strikers, like you're saying. So I just hope it's not someone like Calvert-Lewin or something, because that would just be completely uninspired, underwhelming. Rob says, would like to see Rasmus learning from a more experienced striker. Yeah, I've said that time and time again. We can sit here and say till we're blue in the face, like he needs to do this, he needs to do that. Like part of it's coaching. Part of it is, like you're saying, maybe having someone who's a little older, like the same with defenders, same with midfielders. Why do we always say like, Cobby or someone like Collier and get someone more experienced next to them that kind of like, that's part of it too. I think that if Cavani were still here, maybe even in some ways if Ronaldo were still here, and it would be different. Who knows? But part of it's on Højlund, part of it's on the coaching, part of it is that little X factor of maybe having someone there, because who's Højlund going to look to right now? I do think that he needs to look into some dedicated striker coaching, similar to what Cheeto did in the academy, but I'm not Højlund. I would hope that he's doing all he can to improve, and I would hope that it's not just the team training. I'd hope that there's some extras going on, asking the club, hey, is there a way we can get, a striker coach, someone to work with me on this, or going out of his way to do it on his own would not go amiss either. That to me sends a big message of intent that shows that you're really working hard, that you're putting in the extra time. And it shows that you're taking more of the initiative and more of an active role in your own development as a player. So I'm not Højlund. It is what it is. He's going to do what he's going to do. But let's dive into this match, you guys. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you are new. We do have a couple more days left of that 25% off sale on the UVE store. So go check that out. Sanjay says, enjoy your meal. Rajat, big up, Rajat. It's been a minute, man. Hope you're doing well, man. Who's that? Is that Vitinha down there in your photo? I like Vitinha a lot. Vitinha is very, 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 very good as a deep lying playmaker. For PSG, he's been just such a difference maker, in my opinion. But let's talk about this match, starting with the starting 11, the team news. Obviously, the big news was Cheeto getting the start. Now, I had you guys help me pick a starting 11. You guys and I both started Cheeto, because why not? Nothing left to play for in the league. Maybe keep Højlund fresh for Thursday. But at 17 years and 156 days, Cheeto Obi is United's youngest ever Premier League starter. I saw that online. In fact, we had a young team yesterday, which we're gonna talk about, because the average age of the squad yesterday was just 22 years and 270 days. That is the third youngest any side has ever named for a Premier League match. That's coming from Opta Joe. That is a very young side. So now maybe that adds a little bit of context when it comes to the heavy loss and some of the mistakes. Now, not everybody was young, but we did have a big young side. So, and then we had players who were not fit, players who hadn't played in a minute either, which we're going to talk into. But another good name back in the squad was Ahmad. I think this kind of means that he's back. He's getting a little bit more minutes. Obviously, he came on for a few minutes the other day against Bilbao, and then he got a full half yesterday as well, which I do think that probably means we can pretty much say he's as good as back. Delit obviously got minutes, only about a half hour. Manu, Mount, all getting minutes, and then Bayindir got the start. So Fredrickson back in the squad as well. Amos getting the start. Dorgu on the right, kind of like what we just talked about in the preview as well. So heavily rotated side, very, very rusty side, and very, very young and experienced side as well. So a lot of context, a lot of factors probably playing a role in the way we performed, but we never know. Kind of like what we spoke about in the match preview, Brentford pressed us high, and then without the ball, they were happy to sit deep. They have these triggers, when we were trying to get the ball out to the wing backs or get it to the wide center backs, they were pressing, they were closing down Bayindir pretty well. Bayindir, to me, did not look very comfortable on the ball. He was slipping everywhere. He was holding onto the ball a little too long at times. So clearly, they really just wanted to win the ball high up the pitch, Brentford. They wanted to win it back as much as they could. And when you're up against a team like us who wants to play out from the back and who really, even with a fully fit squad, we don't have all the players that can do that effectively. But now we've got injury hit squad, young squad, players who are rusty like Shaw. It made for a recipe for disaster, and we looked like that every single time. We just really struggled. Shaw and Amos in particular on that left-hand side, I thought, really struggled. We didn't help ourselves. Like I said, we were very slow, over ponderous. We just need some better players who are more comfortable on the ball, players who are press resistant. We need good technical ballers. Yashari for the win. Yes, Arden Yashari. If you guys didn't watch, Club Brugge won their Croquis Cup match yesterday as well, and Yashari was excellent as always. I told you guys he's going to be world class. Overall, the stats yesterday, they were pretty even. Possession, shots, fouls, passes, all that was pretty even. The difference making was the chance creation. We had one big chance. Brentford had 6. We had a very low XG. They had a much higher XG. We just struggled to get the ball forward. I know people are sitting here going in on Cheeto, or are we going on Højlund all the time? But then again, you saw yesterday the same kind of story. Struggling to play out from the back, struggling to get the ball forward. Players not good in their 1v1s on the ball, and Cheeto barely saw the ball. This is what's been happening to anybody who's played up front for us. Garnacho, Højlund, Xerxes, where we struggle to get the ball forward. And it's the same yesterday. And I can't go in too hard on Cheeto because what else can he do? Same as Højlund, though. I thought that we gifted a little bit too many of those deep throw-ins and those corners to really the best side in the league when it comes to set-piece goals. I just think that we were just shooting ourselves in the foot. We were rolling the dice each and every time. And we paid the price a couple of times because not only are Brentford like the best side in the league when it comes to scoring set-piece goals, we're like the third worst when it comes to conceding set-piece goals. So it was just a recipe for disaster. I thought Bayindir getting the start, he made some good saves. He was also, I thought, just a bit slow on the ball. I don't know why he kept slipping. You guys let me know your thoughts as we go through some of these players, but it was just weird how much he was slipping. That, to me, says that he's either wearing the wrong boots or what that happens, because when you're a keeper, right, you go to one side and then you have to sometimes on a split second shift all your weight to the other side. And so to me, that says he was a little bit unsure of his positioning. And to have to, if you're slipping that much while you're trying to change direction, that means you're not reading the game. You're not paying attention as well. And I think maybe just rust, maybe he hasn't been here long, just getting back into it. But it cost us a little problem. I did think too that Bayindir early on maybe a little too eager to come very far off his line. I mean, he was making some scary moves. It did nearly cost us early on too. We had a miscommunication with Shaw. Shaw goes to head that ball back. Binder doesn't realize Binder is pretty much on the edge of the box already, and that ball could have easily gone into the net had it gone like a half a foot into the left, but it just trickled by for a corner. And that kind of stuff is what I'm going to talk about more later on. Just no communication, no leadership, no like not switched on. That was a problem for us. I thought that he was just Binder, though. He's sloppy, a little rusty, a little slow, but he wasn't all of it because the whole defense yesterday was, to me, just not up to it. Usman, welcome back, my friend. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you. We're just getting started on this match here. Yeah, the whole defense was not great. Shaw looked every bit as rusty as we thought he might. After missing so many football, how can you not look to be that rusty? The guy just looked. You guys remember when I used to speak about Casemiro against Liverpool earlier this season, or like against Coventry last year? That's exactly what Shaw looked like today. He just looked like his face was just completely just switched off. Like he was not focused. He wasn't quite present. He was just kind of going through motions. If you looked at when the camera was on him, his face was just blank. And that's the same face I saw from Casemiro when we were playing against Liverpool and he was having an absolute shocker. Or Casemiro when he was taking that pen against Coventry last year in the semifinal. Same exact facial expression. And that just tells me that Shaw is just like, he's not confident. He's already having a rough start and he's just going through the motions. Definitely not quite up to the physicality of the game yesterday, Shaw, especially against that high press. I thought he looked just vulnerable, very slow, very vulnerable. Amorim might have thought so as well, though he says it wasn't because of injury. He hooked Shaw at halftime, replaced him with Euro, and I think that we did improve a little bit. I'm not blaming Shaw for anything, but Shaw definitely did not look up for it. De Ligt, I'm not going to be too harsh on De Ligt because he went off injured, and I thought that whole situation was a bit of a shambles from the ref. But what I do need to see from De Ligt, and I've said it many, many times, he needs to step up and be a leader in that back line. I'm not going to bash him, like I said, because he went off injured, but he's an experienced senior player. He is captain material. I think he could be a future captain. I need to see more from him, though. I need to see initiative. I need to see organization. I need to see communication because this kind of defensive errors that we were committing, he and Shaw basically running into each other when defending one of these balls in was just, that shouldn't be happening. You don't have to wear the armband to be a leader. I've said that many, many times. I just think that I need him to lead, whether he's got the armband on or not. Fredrickson, not much I could ask for him. Youngster. I think aside from just a few risky passes to Binder that I thought were maybe just a little slow or a little off target, not much I can say. He fights really well. He did a really good job. I forget who he fought off the ball. It was like in his own box, and he fought it and won it. He needs to hit the gym a little bit, Fredrickson. I'd like to see him get a little bigger because I need to see some more strength from him in those moments because he looks a little slight at the moment, but it is what it is. Rob says it takes time to get back up to speed after a long injury. Hopefully a good summer will help Shaw and Mount. Mount looked good. Shaw definitely looks like he is. Sometimes I feel like when you're 23, 24, you have a long injury, you can come back from that. But I feel like the older you get, because Shaw's 29 now, you're out for too long. Sometimes you can come back, but you're never going to come back to where you might have been a couple of years earlier. And and it's more noticeable now. It just is what it is. And I think maybe Shaw, I'm not saying he's done with football. I don't know if he can hang in this kind of system. I don't know if he can hang in this league, but we'll see. It's not up to me, but he did not look great yesterday. Rob says De Ligt is going to be out for a while. What a knee injury. I haven't seen any updates yet other than the fact that he was limping, not in crutches or not with a boot or anything. So he was walking on his own, no boot, no crutches, but he was limping. So hopefully just a bit of pain, hopefully nothing too major. I worry, though, that because we're pretty much at the tail end of the season, even if it's something even small, it could be the season done. Now, it doesn't sound as scary as when you say it in like October, but we're only a couple left. I mean, what are you going to do? But we will see what happens with there. About Dorgu and Amas, they looked a bit isolated, a bit cut off, a bit, and they struggled to move that ball. Again, mostly because it was difficult for us to find a way past the press. We were just getting bullied off that ball. We made it very hard. Like I said, Shaw and Amas, that was painful to watch sometimes, that our left-hand side. They had a horrible time of trying to get that ball out. So Ugarte, easily man of the match for me. Ugarte, this is a couple of back-to-back really good performances from him. He and Casemiro ran the show against Bilbao, and Ugarte was just immense. He actually popped up all over the place to win the ball. Was excellent as kind of that pivot point when we were able to beat the press, getting it and then turning. He had a couple situations, Ugarte, where he was literally surrounded by a couple players, and he managed to kind of turn, drop a shoulder, create some space, either find a teammate or create nothing but acres of space for him to dribble. And that's something that I didn't expect from Ugarte. It's not something that we've seen a whole lot of from Ugarte, but if he can do that on a consistent basis, he could really level up and be perfectly suited to this system, perfectly suited to this league and this team. I'd like to see more of that from him. That composure, that press resistance, that skill to create space when there is none is a rarity in football. And to have a midfielder who could do that and still offer the energy, the stamina, and the physicality that he offers, worth its weight in gold. He completed the most passes yesterday, had the most tackles, and he did grab an assist as well, Ugarte. Easily man of the match for me, in my opinion. Manlu Tata, welcome. Are all our players failing all our managers, or are all managers failing our players? That's a difficult question. There's so many differences between a lot of the squads and everything. I think that, then you've got the structure above it and ownership that's different as well. You almost have to look at the Amorim era as completely different from all the other areas just because of all the differences we have. But maybe it's a little of both. I don't think our managers have each been helped. You can say, yes, they've spent this much, but backing is not just about spending money. It's how you spend it, and more importantly, how you raise it from sales. We had many managers who didn't want certain players and they weren't backed. Pogba, Martial. I'm not blaming the players, saying, the ownership and the board. So I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I wish that there was a better answer. I don't think it's as simple as this or that, because as most things are, right? But appreciate that. Manlu says, I don't see what Ugarte is giving us, to be honest, as I thought we were buying a Rodri level CDM. Well, we definitely weren't buying a Rodri level CDM. Rodri's several years older. Ugarte was just, 22, 23 when we bought him. But yesterday, like I said, most passes, most tackles, assists, excellent on the ball, popping up all over the place. Again, if we could see more of that on a consistent basis, because Ugarte's been solid these last couple matches as well. And you definitely notice a drop-off when he's not playing personally. But everybody's going to have an opinion, but I thought Ugarte was easily man of the match for me yesterday. Kabi is the one I think struggled yesterday. Just didn't get involved as much as you would think he would want to. Didn't look too comfortable. Looked like he was always chasing the game, Kabi. I wonder if he's physical enough. Now, it does look like he's bulked up a bit, but he struggled. Did not complete a single dribble yesterday, Kabi. Just made the one tackle. Literally didn't win any duels. I wonder maybe if he's better in the 10 in this system. Under a Ten Hag system, it's a little different because, again, it's more about system than just about position sometimes. But the way that the pivots play in this system, they do demand a bit more running around, a bit more on off the ball, whereas the 10, I think that frees Kabi up a little bit more. I don't like him as a 10 like in a Ten Hag system as the lone 10, but maybe in this Amorim system, it's a little different. But I definitely I did not see enough from Kabi yesterday. Like I said, no dribbles, one tackle, no duels, one, not great. I thought Garnacho and Mount were decent. I thought Garnacho did very well to get his head up early on to find Mount, tucked it home, open scoring. It was a good goal too. Classic counterattack United. I liked it. Good, well-worked goal. And Garnacho, he did grab a second goal. He grabbed another one for us about 8 minutes left to go. Excellent bit of skill. Excellent shot from him to find that far corner. Really good. Goal and assist of the night, not bad from Garnacho. And I think that and hopefully it shows him as well. The goal opportunities will come. You don't have to start the match only looking for goals. He got open, he got the ball, got his head up early, saw that situation, read that pass perfectly, found Mount, and he was able to get another goal later on. Yes, ultimately it didn't matter, but at the same time, I hope that shows him, and maybe it'll show someone like Hoyland too, like you don't have to try to force it. You can be patient. The game will come to you. There's 90 minutes. It'll be fine. Work to try to create goals, work to try to be pragmatic, work to try to be a little selfless, and then the opportunities will come. It will happen. Garnacho ended up creating the most chances on the night. He did struggle in some other areas on the pitch. I think, like I said, he's finding the balance between trying to do it all and then finding his teammates. I think that when he can figure out a way to find that balance and maintain that balance and maybe hit the gym a little bit, I think Garnacho really could be a star, but still too early. He still has a lot of development to do, but what I saw from him yesterday is what I'd like to see from him more often. Rob says, man of the match contender yesterday. Yeah, I think he was easily man of the match for me. Rob says Garnacho's goal was Anthony. Oh, no. I knew it was going to happen. We were going to talk about that later, but I can't believe we're saying that somebody's goal was Anthony-esque. I can't believe Anthony-esque has entered the United lexicon now. Oh, no. Mount, again, was very good last night. Much better than I thought he was against Bilbao. I remember we were pretty critical of him against Bilbao. I thought his run to get on the end of Garnacho's ball was excellent run. It showed patience, unlike we saw against Bilbao. It showed a good reading of the game. Did very well. He's winning a lot of duels. Mount won 100% of his tackles. There's a question mark over where he might fit best in this system. I've seen some people say that maybe he could switch to one of those deeper roles. Some people say, maybe the 10. It's difficult. Amorim likes him, so I wonder where he's going to fit. Maybe I don't know if Mount, in all things being equal, if we had maybe everyone Amorim wanted, does Mount even start in this side? I don't know. He's 26 now. I don't know. You guys tell me. Does Mount have a future as a 10, as a 6? Does he, as Emery, like a 6/8? Does he start, in your ideal squad? I don't know. It's difficult. Cheeto, like I said, Cheeto struggled. He's feeding off scraps, but honestly, like I said, that's been the case for a lot of us this season when it comes to strikers. There's just not much service, not much to go off of. We're just not good enough at getting the ball forward, and yesterday was another example of why that is, and we struggle against high-pressing sides. We've done that for years, though. We've struggled against high-pressing sides for years, and yesterday it didn't help with rusty players, young players, like I said. So it was a big ask yesterday. Maguire came on, probably wasn't meant to be involved. Ahmad played the second half. Really, Dylan texted me, and he was like, man, we've missed Ahmad, and I'm like, I couldn't agree more, man. Ahmad came on and reminded us just how much we've missed him. Whenever we were able to actually find Ahmad, he caused problems for Brentford. Like his first involvement, saw him get the ball into the box. He was doing very, very well. And the kid, he's small, but he's got fight and he's actually got some strength. He won 2 out of 2 tackles, 5 out of 8 ground duels, and he didn't lose the ball once. He was very, very good. Eriksen came on and kind of did what I thought maybe we would do with Bruno, maybe if Bruno had started and then maybe gone off at halftime, which was play like a playmaker quarterback role. But it's clear on a number of occasions I saw yesterday and what we've seen throughout the last couple of years is that Eriksen his legs just aren't letting him keep up with the demands of that role in that area of the pitch. There's a chance where I think an Eriksen of 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe another player would have gotten to a loose ball, but he just couldn't get to it, missed out, and just led to another opportunity for Brentford. And again, I've said it before, he's a liability. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the facts. And it was just another example of that. But he did manage to get an assist. He did create 4 chances. And that's what Eriksen can do if you give him that job. But it's that pivot in an Amorim system asks a bit too much of what Eriksen can offer. Maybe in some ways even what Casemiro can offer, unless you're setting up a certain way on a given day, if that makes sense. Rob says, Ethan Wheatley seems to be finding the back of the net. Is he the other one who scored? I couldn't remember off the top. I didn't get to watch the rest of the game from the under 21 because I had a client. Let me see who scored. So No scores for Wheatley today. Scanlon, Williams, Murray, and Mather. But yeah, I did see Wheatley play. He looked decent. Unlucky not to get a goal probably, but he looked decent. He looks better than he did last season for sure. So before we dive into my thoughts, because you guys know I've got 3 thoughts after this, let's see what Amorim had to say. Wasn't a lot of it was pretty generic, but he did have this to say regarding just where we are right now with squads and quality and whatnot. Well, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. So he says, we're not ready to play Premier League competitions and be in the Champions League, but we need to win, and we need to win this competition to give something to our fans. Then we will have time to prepare the team to cope with those 2 competitions. So basically saying, we don't have the squad, we don't have the fit players, we don't have training time to manage all these competitions. So I wanted to know your guys' thoughts on that comment. How do you read those comments? What are your thoughts and reaction to those comments? I'm not 100%, like I sympathize a little bit, and I agree that we're not quite ready. But the question for me is, should you be getting more from what you have? And we're going to talk about this shortly because I've got some thoughts on this. A lot of people are not happy with Amorim right now. I'm not super happy right now. I'm not saying sack him. I'm a little frustrated with him, and these kind of comments don't help personally, but I wanted to know your thoughts because I care more about what you think than just listening to my own thoughts every day. Kai, big up. Says, hello, everybody. Any news on De Ligt? I'm going to go check the website while we're live and see if we have any news on De Ligt. I have not seen any updates as of yet. So all the latest news just says he's going to be assessed. It says, yeah, Amorim just said, I don't know, we'll check. We hope it's only a small issue. I hope it's nothing serious. Yeah, nothing really. So we'll wait and see. I'm sure we'll get something ahead of the match on Thursday. But big up, Kai. Good to see you again. Rob says, we need a lot of investment in the summer, and I think that is what Amorim is suggesting. Yeah, I mean, I agree. We're definitely not ready. We don't have the quality in the squad. We're going to be losing a lot of players. We don't have it to fully compete on 2 fronts. But again, it kind of reminds me of the whole, worst team in the league right now. Like, we can agree with it, but at the same time, is that something managers should be so transparent about? It's hard to walk that line, right, between just feeding people BS, like people can read through it, but at the same time, kind of admitting defeat in some areas. And then you got to look at how the players feel about that kind of stuff too. There's a lot of plates to spin in these situations, but I'm not manager. I don't envy any managers. It's not a fun job. I think just having to do press conferences and interviews alone is enough for me never to want to do that. Rob says, De Ligt does seem to pick up short-term injuries. I think it was the same at Bayern. Well, we're going to talk about that too, but you guys know that was my big concern when we were linked with De Ligt, was his injury proneness. He's had only, according to Transfer Market, only 2 injuries since he's joined us. But they're ones, but it's contact stuff I don't worry too much about. Like when you caught a knee to the head earlier in the season, that's one thing. It's the non-contact stuff, like the stuff that Luke Shaw pops up with, that worry me when they start to, or like Mason Mount's issues. That's the kind of stuff that starts to worry me. Contact stuff, like when people were calling Licha injury prone when he literally got like landed on his leg, like that's not injury prone. That's a contact injury. It's the ACL after that's a little worrying, but that's a whole nother story. But in De Ligt, yeah, you're right, and that's one of the things I was worried about was his injury proneness. Now we will see. Rob says, to be honest, I've thought about how difficult it will be next season to balance Champions League and Premier League without some big changes and numbers. Yeah, I mean, Champions League is more matches, right? Like we saw this year with Europa, it's 8 now. If we get it, it does help. We will have some money to work with, which does help us strengthen. But I think that this is why it doesn't take a lot of money to make us stronger as a squad. It doesn't take a lot of money to raise the floor in terms of technical players, stamina, physicality. It doesn't take a lot of money. It takes really good recruitment, really good negotiating. It does take a bit of initiative in the market. It doesn't take a lot of money. We just have to be smart. We have to just make good choices. You could get Angel Gomez, Jonathan David, Olivier Bichali, Alex Merritt. You can get all those players on a free, and you've got 4 key positions down your spine that for free. I mean, yes, you've got bonuses and wages, but again, it's like half of what you might spend on a Gyökeres or an Oshman at the end of the day. So these are no-brainers to me. You could get almost a full 11 with the amount of money you can spend on 4 players. It's freaking hilarious. Lionheart, big up, man. Our major fear with DeLitt was his injury track record. Yep, and that was a concern of mine. I'm at a point now where I look at a player's injury history sometimes more than I look at their stats or their percentiles or their heat maps or anything because I'm just so tired of injury-prone players. But that's what we've had to deal with. We've had too many of these players, and it's hurt us many times. I don't blame the players. I can't. They want to play, like Phil Jones said in his interview a few months ago. Like, it's not like he woke up and was like, I want to get injured. Shit happens sometimes. Hopefully the club is doing everything it can to find this top of the line, like next level ways to avoid injuries, to treat injuries, to like any of that. But that's all we can hope for. Maybe a new medical team is the first thing we need to replace. But let's dive into my thoughts, you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe for me. Oops, that was the wrong. I have the wrong one on there. Sorry, my bad, guys. Forgot to change the thumbnails for my my titles, so I'm just gonna read them this time and go old school, like it's a year ago. Number 1, some diabolical defending yesterday. It was amateur hour from us at the back, like amateur hours. Like, how many teams score 3 goals and still lose, by the way? This is why defenders and keepers were so undervalued for so long, because people didn't stop to think, wait, we could score 3 goals and still concede 4 and lose. We're keeping a clean sheet is guaranteed at least a point. This is when you started to see the Maguires, the Van Dijks, and these guys start to become more valuable. But we scored 3 and still lost. Too many touches against a high pressing side, a lack of communication, no initiative, no assertiveness to just go and clear the danger. It cost us. It cost us time and time again. And not just under Amorim. We saw it last year too, like against Chelsea late on in the season. Nobody coming out to close down people on the edge of the box and whatnot. It costs us. There was one corner late in the first half that literally came all the way in from the corner and just literally no one even touched it. It dropped to the ground literally right in front of Binder. It came all the way from the corner, hit the ground in front of Binder. Nobody got a touch to it. That should not be happening, period. And then we gave away all those long throw-ins from Wissa. Like, there are teams from like the 80s that literally were built on the long throw-ins. And again, they're just like a corner. And we're awful at them. Nobody jumps. Nobody tries to take the initiative. Everyone's on the back foot. And it costs us. We push the envelope time and time again. Somebody just go and attack the ball, for fuck's sake. Like, it's day one defending. And then when we were able to get something to it, it's just weak clearances, man. It was just the ball just drops and someone's just hoping and hoofing and it's going just to the edge of the box, right back, right out. And we're having to deal with just another wave of pressure time and time again. And it cost us again. Brentford got a 3rd goal because of a weak clearance. They were able to collect the ball because nobody closed down the space and just put it at the back post and it went right in. And it's just, this is what happens. Just shit defending. Just switched off. No initiative. No one has that mentality. I don't know if we're being told to control those, to try to play out carefully, even on these set pieces. But if so, that's poor coaching, in my opinion. We just need to get rid of it. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. What are you guys saying? Sanjay wants to know, is it true that Casemiro is to get 500K per week? It's not that people are getting raises. It's that people lost money. They lost 25% of their wages when we dropped to Europa League, and now they would be getting that 25% back to their paycheck. I don't think Casemiro's on 500K a week. But no, it's not that anyone's getting raises. People forget, and I think that was Samuel Luckhurst that was writing about it. They lose money because we're not in there, so they're getting that money back. Danny B, big up, man. Nearly missed you. Busy. Well, I'm glad you're back at work, man. I hope your back's doing well. Hopefully, if you're working, that means your back's feeling good. But good to see you, man. Better late than never. What's everyone saying? Rob says, if you could still see all the chat, check out the fake profile that visited. There's a fake profile that visited? Who? I didn't see anything. I'm going to look through now. What's the name of the fake? I don't see any fake profiles. Interesting. Yeah, you have to let me know who you're talking about. I don't see anything popping up in the chat. Rob says 350K, but it's 40% tax in UK, so Casemiro is suffering. Yeah, darn. Boo, right? Insert Zombieland using money to wipe your tears gif here. So Amorim said after this that the throw-ins and the set pieces were a problem for us. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But he says that is normal because we didn't have height in the team. That is something we need to address when we come to these games. So that enrages me. So how about do it then? You say that's something we need to address when we come to these games. Fucking do it instead of wishing you'd done it after the fact. Instead of regretting that you didn't do it after a loss, do it then. I don't understand. That makes me so much more angry about this whole situation. Is when you're coming out and you're like, yeah, we needed to do that. I'm like, dude, you're absolutely killing me. You knew coming in you were going against a side who's the best in the league when it comes to scoring those set piece goals. We're among the worst. You started a youngster who's played once, a rusty Luke Shaw who's really not good at that situation, and then De Ligt. De Ligt is fine, but again, we're rolling the dice with De Ligt. So what are you going to do? And then they got that second goal, and again, it was just so bad. Everyone's De Ligt goes down, he gets injured, he's hurt, he's on the ground, and literally every United player is just looking at their refs going like this instead of playing until the whistle while Brentford just basically score at their leisure. I don't care if De Ligt is on the ground. Fucking play to the whistle. It is absolute amateur hour defense, man. And then we lose De Ligt too, like I said. Probably going to be for the rest of the season. Hopefully it's something small. I don't think it's something serious. It's just a matter of the timing of the season is not great. I probably would have liked to have seen Lindelof come on for Maguire, honestly, because I do think Maguire has been in excellent form, and I don't want to risk it. I don't think he's going to be as crucial for Bilbao, but you do want to start strong. You do want to just get that, and you don't want to risk anybody for the final. So I'd like to see us get at least a goal. I'd like to see us maybe switch to the youngster, whoever is available, and then just wrap everybody in cotton wool until the final. But no matter how you slice it, the defense definitely let us down yesterday, and it was just absolute garbage defending. Moving on to number 2, again, I forgot to change the thumbnails for those, so you guys are just getting old school, a year ago, me reading out my number 2. Number 2, Amorim rolls the dice. Hindsight's 2020, of course, but I think starting De Ligt might have been a risk that ended up not paying off. It's difficult to manage minutes right now with Europa League and injuries and whatnot. Amorim has said as much as well, but it might have been maybe a match too soon to start De Ligt. Remember, he was out for a month, and it's been, like someone else said, later on the season, he's collecting some of these injuries. But we had a rusty De Ligt, a rusty Shaw, a very young Fredrickson, and a rusty Biendier, and that made for a very hesitant, very just not familiar and very slow back line. And it showed. Brentford pressed us whenever we tried to build from the back, and that lack of sharpness, that lack of familiarity, that lack of physicality was evident. It also meant a lack of focus. Again, defending those balls in the box takes a bit of focus, and it cost us. Amorim moved quickly to correct it. He took off Shaw, made some changes, but then again, there's really no choice, but it is what it is. Sometimes the gamble just doesn't pay off, and you're going to get losses. I don't think Amorim really planned to do much else. I mean, Bruno never even looked close to coming off the bench, so it was pretty clear what the plan was, but he will likely be sweating on De Ligt's injury, though. I said in the summer, De Ligt's injury record was a bit of a concern, and I'll admit that we've been very lucky he's been as fit as long as he has this year. There was hopes that maybe, okay, well, he's just moving on. It is what it is. But he's starting to pick up a few issues late on in the season. Like I said, he did leave the stadium limping, but he was not on crutches and he wasn't in a boot. So there's hope there. But even if it is a small issue, there's a real chance he could be done the rest of the season. So another hindsight issue, right? Starting him when he was still rusty, but it is what it is. Lionheart says, what did we think of Biendier yesterday? We spoke about it a little earlier. definitely looked a little rusty. I don't know what his deal was, slipping and sliding all over the place. And I thought he was very slow on the ball. He almost cost us another one, wanting way too much time on the ball when he got closed down. I forget who it was that closed him down, but I'm like, dude, that whole defense yesterday was just so slow. They just looked like they were half asleep. It was so annoying to watch. Oh, Jay, how's it going? Jay says, you know it's that bad when you don't even watch the game. Oh, did you not watch it yesterday? Big up, Jay. So number 3, is the Europa League enough? And that's a question maybe I pose to you guys as well. So let me put this in the chat right now while I go on my little rant here. Let me get you guys on here because I like getting you guys involved. So I get that Amorim is focusing on the Europa League. And I mean, so are we, right? We've said it many times. It's Europa League or bust. Just play the kids. It is what it is. But what frustrated me yesterday is we can't forget why we're in a situation where we're only focusing on the Europa League. We can't disregard the reasons why it is Europa League or bust. Our league form has been absolute shit. And that's what I'm most angry about, again, is the reason why we're in this situation. 6 wins, 6 draws, and 12 losses in the league since Amorim took over. That's just not good enough. It's not acceptable. I don't think a Europa League trophy can erase where we are likely to finish in the table. We could very easily finish 17th if keep doing what we've been doing. The fact that we have to focus on Europa League probably does mean we might be lucky to get a point or two from these last remaining 3 fixtures. Should we look at the league and Europa League kind of distinctively in and of themselves and call them like 2 separate little goals this season, one of which we've failed miserably and the other one is still up for grabs? I mean, if so, I mean, Amorim has failed spectacularly so, right? Even if we are unbeaten in Europe, you can't disregard the league form. Even worse, if we do get to the final, and we could very easily lose that final, especially if it's Spurs, who've done us a few times. And that makes it worse, right? You're hanging everything now in Europa League, but if you don't win it and you still finish 17th in the league with 6 wins, 6 draws, and maybe even more than 12 losses, that's not okay. I'm not saying Amorim's job is going to depend on the Europa League, like everyone said about Ten Hag in the FA Cup, but I'm just saying it is what it is right now. On the final, though, if United do make it to the final and Spurs do as well, I mean, Ange could be without a key player. James Maddison is expected to miss the final if Spurs make it past Bodo Glimt. Sounds like Maddison's expected to miss the rest of the season with a knee injury. So that's coming from Sammy Mockbell with the BBC. So it's interesting stuff, man. But let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Is Europa League enough? 75% of you say Europa League is enough. 25% of you say no, it is not enough. But again, you win the Europa League and people will say, okay, Champions League football, trophy, we're unbeaten in Europe. I get it. Don't win the Europa League and no Champions League and 6 wins, 6 draws, and more than 12 losses by the time that the league ends. Probably. Then people start because this is all part of Amorim's win percentage, all part of his tenure at United. This first season is not going well. And yeah, early on, we could say, okay, lack of training, this and that, I get it. But you've been here since November, bro. And other managers have come in and taken over mid-season and have not done this poorly. So I am a little more than frustrated. We know that Amorim sent out to implement his system early on with no preseason and little to no training. He did say we would suffer. Many of us accepted that. But can anyone say that they expected it to be this bad? He's on thin ice for me right now because not having a full squad of his players or not having enough time, like I said, is not a good enough excuse right now. Again, like I said, other managers have come in mid-season. They've inherited worse sides, and they've done much better. Amorim needs to start strong next season, Europa League or otherwise. Because Ineos, it's not just me saying I'm writing them off, because Ineos have shown that they will not waste time in changing things that aren't working. And if he starts poorly, after they've backed him and done all this, and after the results this season, I doubt that they will wait very long to swing that axe. A slow start to the season could see him moved on. I'm not saying it's what I want. It's just this is a results business, and managers live or die by their results. It's just facts. What are we saying here? So many people. Rob says Binder isn't too good, but worse without regular football. There's no consistency in the team lineups for multiple reasons. Yeah, and I think probably Binder might just be the guy between the sticks for the rest of the season at this rate. Rich, big up, Rich. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Hit that like button for Rich, you guys. Rob says Aunt Madison is hit and miss. Yeah, he goes in these little purple patches, doesn't he, Madison, where he'll have a couple of really good matches and then he just goes missing. But Rich says we need defensive backups for sure. We need all sorts of shit, man. It's ridiculous. Says we loaned out 3 attacking players. We'll be better next season. Hopefully. Can't be worse, can we? I mean, short of relegation, it really can't get worse than this. Rob says someone needs to send Jim a list of possible frees. I'm sure he'd like him. I mean, it's just I think it's going to be more about who's a good fit for the squad. I think that the freebies, there are some that I think do tick a lot of boxes, but again, it's not up to me. Like I said, I think Jonathan David, Olivier Bishali would be the first deals I go and get done personally. Leaves you a lot of wiggle room for other positions. You could get a couple midfielders. You could get a right wing back. You could get a keeper. You can do a lot. Like you guys saw in my summer budget rebuild video, I spent 130 odd million and got like 6 players, a couple of them for free. And they all instantly improve us, It's not difficult. Rich says Binder is gone in the summer. Yeah, I think he is pretty much gone, which again leaves us light. I think really we do need to do better in goalkeepers, but we lose Binder, we lose Onana again. It's kind of like if people want to sell Højlund, we still need 2 strikers. We're in a shitty situation right now. Rob says maybe Amorim starting when he did has gradually given him the wake up call needed. Well, there's a reason Amorim did not want to start mid-season. There's a reason a lot of managers don't want to start mid-season. You get little to no backing because January is hard. You don't have a whole lot of training time because you're literally mid-season. You have 0 preseason. And usually if you're starting mid-season, it's because it's a bit of a circus. And yeah, tick all those boxes at United this season. It's been crap. Rob says Glazers are thinking Neymar and Messi on freeze to sell some shirts. Yeah, we do like a big name, don't we? Thankfully, the Glazers are no longer in charge of the footballing decisions, so we're led to believe. So hopefully, with guys like Wilcox, Barada, and co. kind of making those decisions, hopefully we'll see what happens. We did bring in good players, I thought, this summer. We probably still overpaid for a couple, but on paper, it looks like we overpaid. Like Xerxes, we paid more than the release clause, but we spread that out, so it is what it is. Danny says Real Madrid, Brighton, and Dortmund have their eyes on Bashali. Yeah, I saw that Brighton were interested a while ago. I saw a Dortmund link. Dortmund one doesn't make sense. I have not read anything about Real Madrid being interested in Bashali. Bashali, I looked extensively yesterday, Danny. Did not see anything other than the stuff from like the winter, which was the Brighton stuff. That I think that they PSV had turned down like a £10 million offer from Brighton because they wanted 20 million, which doesn't make sense because he's leaving for free in the summer. Just take the 10 million and reinvest it. But I'm not Brighton. So in any case, not good enough. Whoever wins, though, if we get to the final between us and Spurs, we know that there's going to be some butthurt folks out there. Apparently, people have all of a sudden remembered that the winner of Europa League gets Champions League football next season. Like, did people just forget that was how things work? I think maybe just the fact that it's United now it's suddenly become an issue for everybody because everybody seems to think it's not fair. We ripped that guy the other week. I forget his name now, that pundit or whoever who was complaining about it. I don't know who he was, some asshole. But now they've dug up old Arsene Wenger, who apparently still has some legitimacy in football these days, who, of course, is going to be impartial, right, when it comes to Spurs or United. But apparently he doesn't think it's right either. Because apparently how you're doing in the league is what makes people think it's unfair. Who cares? Who freaking cares how you're doing in the league? It's about, like, you're winning a competition. It doesn't make sense. I told you guys, the agenda is real, and like it's embarrassing. I just a little effort to like hide it would be great at some point. Thank God Sky is removing some of these idiots from their broadcasting because we need some new blood in here, man. Some of these people are just they've realized that they're just past it. They're boring, and now they're just saying stuff to try to keep up with the bigger YouTube channels out there, like your United Stands, like your Stratford Paddocks, like your People's Person. All these people are just doing much, much better. The content, the commentary is so much better and more engaging, and honestly, just more well informed and analytical than like I would stack up AJ analysis any day against any sort of analysis you're going to get from ESPN, Sirius, Sky, BBC, Peacock, whatever. Like that's just the way it is. And so it just goes to show that it doesn't matter if you played the game once decades ago. If you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And if you have an agenda, you have an agenda. And clearly the agenda is real. Rob says Arsene Wenger didn't complain when they got in there for finishing second, third, or fourth in the league. Exactly. Exactly, Rob. Thanks for having my back, brother. Leonard says football decisions. I so not believe any of their decisions have been based on football. Yeah, right. Rob says I think Sky is planning on sacking a pile of analysts. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. They've got a few names. I had a few names that I would like to see put on there, like Jamie Carragher and whatnot. All these Cotterill, that idiot who tried to force Amorim to respond in English at a sporting presser in Sporting before he even joined United. That asshole can go to. But in any case, we lose 4-3. It wasn't as close as the scoreline would tell you. What are you guys saying here, by the way, about Europa League? So 60% of you say Europa League is enough. Okay. 15th place, though, is where we sit after yesterday's result. And to be honest, it's probably better than we deserve based on the way we're playing. Even if Spurs and West Ham did us a favor with their draw, it's just not been good enough this season. There's really no excuse for it. 16 losses in the league is a shambles, and it probably will get worse before the end of the season. I think we've got, Chelsea, Aston Villa, I think, is our last game. Who do we have next in the league? Now I'm curious. Oh, so we've got Chelsea, Villa, West Ham. Yeah, all those are very losable, by the way. I think Amorim has to look at himself, and the players definitely need to take a look at themselves. A fair few of these players have failed any and all auditions they might have faced under Amorim. If any of them were playing to convince or playing for a spot, a lot of them have failed. It's going to be interesting to see who Amorim's starting 11 is on Thursday. Big match. Hopefully, maybe we start a little stronger, maybe a goal, maybe 2 goals, and then just rest everybody, wrap them in cotton wool until the final. We play the final if we advanced on Thursday. We play the final before even our last game of the league. So we need to wrap these players in cotton wool. We'll talk more about that later on this week when we do a preview. Big up the traveling away support to the match, though. You could hear them singing the whole match yesterday. And then if anybody did want to take note, Antony scored a superb stoppage time winner against Espanyol yesterday to win the game for Betis. Classic Antony goal, too, by the way. Gets the ball on the outside of the box, cuts in, puts in a beautiful curling left-footed effort, top bins, puts it away, stoppage time winner. I mean, Real Betis better make a deal quickly for him or else that price is going to keep going up because this is actually, he's back to his Ajax form, Antony, and that's just the form that we thought we were getting. So Rob says 13th is still possible. If Palace win tonight, then 12th is out. Well, I think I gave up on anything above 14th a long time ago personally. But you guys, please, there is a couple more days left of 25% off in the UVE store. I think that goes for like another 2 days. But everything is 25% off. Like I said, now is the best time if you're looking at any T-shirts, hoodies, women's clothing. It's all 20% off. So go take advantage of that. The comment is pinned to the top, the straight link to the store. So go check that out. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 3K. Every little bit helps. So share the videos, like them, make sure you're watching them. Go check out the memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the channel. And then if you want $5 off when you register at GoGoalShop, check the link in the video description. Rob says, has Antony done better than Rashford on loan? Yeah, he has. He's just playing better. Now it's difficult because different leagues. If it had been Anthony had gone to West Ham and Rashford that had gone to Betis, it might be a different story altogether. But again, with Anthony, I think it was more about the physicality of the league than anything. I just don't think he can handle it. So I think that he was very good at Ajax. I think he was probably better than the Eredivisie, but I don't think he was quite ready. And that's not me saying the Premier League is the best league. It's just it is a more physically demanding league the way teams are playing. So it is what it is. But thank you guys again. Thank you guys for stopping by. Be sure to come back later on this week. We will do the match preview for Thursday. It's not going to be super in depth, not because it's a dead rubber or anything, but just we just did a Bilbao preview not that long ago. So there's not much tactical stuff to talk about, but we will kind of incorporate a lot of the news and whatnot into that show as well. Keep a lookout for season 2 of What If that will be dropping sometime around the end of the season. We do have some fun videos planned for the summer. As always, we'll be doing the award shows as well, transfer planning and whatnot. So be sure to come back, get involved too. The memberships are the way you can do that. Liner says, maybe we can do a Leicester next year, finish 15th this year and win a lot next year. Well, we are kind of on a steady incline, right? We got League Cup, FA Cup, maybe Europa League. So maybe, that means next year it's Champions League or the league. Who knows? But until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for stopping by. Peace.